Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean. You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
Victorious 89.1 WAKP. Your unity in the community station.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on the Powerhouse radio station are those of the host, guests, and callers, are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers. The show found on the Powerhouse radio station can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or conditions. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
One by One Kia full range of products embodies fundamental nutrients necessary to maintain beautiful and healthy hair care without having to combine an assortment of hair care products. The One by One Kia products are designed to rejuvenate, moisturize, create shine, fortify, and stimulate hair growth while leaving your hair feeling weightless and luxurious. Be sure to visit our website at www.onebywwankaya.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at One by One Kia. Let's get your healthy hair care journey started today. The Hinkson Firm's mission is to provide superior legal service in the areas of family law, child welfare law, general legal services, and mediation by keeping convenience of the clients at the forefront. The Hinkson Firm's goal is to eliminate the stress of an already intense situation in your life by coming directly to your workplace and or a location close to your home for consultation, meetings, and mediation. The Hinkson Firm customized legal attention based on the needs of each client while treating every client with the dignity and respect they deserve, while fighting strongly and fiercely for justice and their legal rights. The Hinkson Firm can be reached at 470-499-4704.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
Victorious 89.1 WAKP. Your unity in the community station.
Well, welcome to another edition of Reasoning Thursdays with yours truly, Lady D, Mama Acid, and Queen. Right here each and every Thursdays. Greeting, ladies. How you doing?
Bless.
Man, I'm telling you, it has been another crazy, exciting week. A lot has happened, for this week. And so I want to say big shouts, Juliet. Greetings. Juliet said, evening, ladies. How are you, Juliet? Big up yourself. Man, we are going to be covering Donna Lee, Messam, Jamaican government, American government. And ladies, I threw one in there, the White Matters t-shirt.
You are not expecting us to say nothing. You already know we got a lot to talk about in that.
You know, I had to throw that in there. And Mama Acid caught some stuff from Queen, caught some stuff to our attention in regards to Donna Lee and the Messam. Mama Acid caught our attention to, well, I guess that is in American politics, I guess, because that is having to do with Dr. Oz. And some more information came out in regards to the Herschel Walker saga. I don't where are we going to begin with our reason? Where are we beginning? You know what?
Hey, let's say something. Hey, let us say thank you today.
Hold on. Donna says, "Good evening, all blessings to you, Sister Donna. Blessings to you." What were you saying, Mama Acid?
We need to say thank you to President Joe Biden for today pardoning all federal low-level marijuana convictions.
Whoa, that is huge.
Oh, awesome.
That is
See,
huge.
That is huge, all
So
right.
when they say low level, what do they consider to be low level? Level 100 pounds, 10 pounds? I mean, like 1 pound, couple of ounces. Like, what
I
is
would
he
think they would
really?
say, maybe that doesn't sound realistic, but I think maybe 1 pound, because I don't think anything more than 1 pound they're gonna consider to be personal consumption.
Okay, so basically, he's saying everything that is personal consumption is um
It seems
is
like it.
is
Mm.
considered to be low level. So, but some people
Yeah.
can smoke 1 whole pound, you know.
Well, okay, now I'm gonna be quiet over here.
Some people can do that. So I don't understand. So
Mm-mm.
you know what I mean? Some people can do that. Most definitely, most definitely. Man, I'm
But
telling
you know
you.
that there's two sides to that.
Okay.
He's
Sides.
got to get the governors of the states to
Mhm.
release to agree with him and to release their prisoners. So once the federal order goes through, he's got to get the state governors to agree and to pardon their prisoners. And that's where the problem is going to come in because it's all about money.
Because it's just like the legalization of marijuana. You know, most states do have it, but it's up to the governor in each state to legalize it.
Well, yeah, it can be legalized based off of each state, but still, if government and that's something I think that they should really let people know instead of believing that, you know, federally they can still lock you up, can't they? Even though locally,
No,
tell us
No,
how
because it's
that
a
no,
works.
federal,
How
it's
that
passed
works.
federal.
Huh?
they are declassifying it. They're declassifying marijuana from class one to class two or three.
Okay.
Once they declassify it, it will no longer be a chargeable crime.
Okay. So, how much
Now,
longer do you
the
think we're
issue
going to
is that
be?
it's money.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how they can dip in the pot. How about that? How they
No,
can
this
get their
money
fair
issue. The
share, how they can get their fair share in the pot. How about that?
no, no, that's not it.
But
You got to
legalizing
remember
it
So
that
what
gave
is
them
it?
fair share. Legalizing
it's
it
the
gave them fair
federal
share.
Say
it's
that
the
again.
federal prison system that creates the biggest problem.
Okay. Say okay.
Yeah, because they're
The
going to be
re-
losing prisoners, right? Mm-hmm.
right, and they're
That
going to. Well,
money.
the deal is that the federal
That was
prison system runs off of a certain budget. Once these
mm-hmm.
private prisons are no longer being fed by the prison system, like some of the state systems and also the federal system, they're going to collapse. And that is where you got this huge amount of workers who are all of a sudden going to find themselves unemployed.
True.
Okay.
When you
I
start
see where you're
releasing
coming
people from
from.
jail.
I see where you're
Yeah.
coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that
Okay.
means that money is coming out of somebody's pocket. Now, I want to tell y'all something that I learned this week about that too.
Okay.
Jamaica's drug court.
So we doing
Did y'all
government?
realize
Is that what
Jamaica?
we're
Did
on?
y'all realize Jamaica has a drug court?
No, I didn't know that. I thought a court is a court.
Yes.
They have a drug court specifying just on drugs, being specific
Yeah,
on
and what they
drugs.
do is they extradite the people when they convicted of major crimes like RICO infractions, where they say they have sent drugs across the water to America, and they get extradited to the United States. This is what explains what they did to several people, including Dudas. Now, the other thing was, I did not know Vivian was actually captured in Jamaica and extradited to America to serve his 20 years.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was doing something and
I
I
was
and I went to
listening
the
to
left.
something last night about the Neverland and what's happening in the Neverland. Jamaica wants the Neverland to start deporting all the criminals that escaped from Jamaica and went over there. So
Yep.
and
Hmm.
yes, I was listening to something like that. I heard on the news yesterday. I didn't grasp all of it, but I know that Jamaica is pressuring the Netherlands, and I think it's Costa Rica. They're pressuring them to send the Jamaicans that are over there that are criminals. I guess they're sending them a list of the wanted criminals, and that they should send them back, deport them back to Jamaica to stand trial.
But if they're not convicted, how can they be considered still? I mean, a
They're on the
conviction is
wanted
what they
list.
will be.
They're on the wanted list. They have a list. What's his name? When he did that gun control thing, you had a poster out, and that poster was showing some of the wanted men on there. So they have a pictures and information on the men that are wanted, and I'm quite sure they have undercover people telling them where they are. Just like you just said, that one that was deported back to America. The FBI is all over. Right now they're in Jamaica because they had a big drug bust the other day where they caught quite a bit of them. They caught. And it was instrumented by the FBI, the American FBI. And they went in, and quite a bit of them were captured, and they did deport them to America to stand trial.
Now, there's
So
what I'm
there's a
talking
lot of,
about. That's what I'm talking about right there.
yeah.
Okay, why
Hmm.
are they deporting them to America to stand trial instead of letting them stay in Jamaica where they are citizens?
Um, uh, I guess because they're on the American wanted FBI wanted list.
Okay, I'm back.
Even though they're going to eventually deport them back to Jamaica once they serve their time, don't they?
Okay, I'm sorry. I
Uh,
missed a
That's the
lot of it.
question.
Go
Can
ahead.
they? If these people have already legally gained citizenship in another country, can they come in and just collect them like that?
Okay, I'm just coming back, so I'm kind of lost. So you're saying that the Netherlands is, I heard something in regards to the Netherlands sending
yeah.
criminals to
And yes.
America to stand trial and serve
No,
time.
no. The
No.
Jamaican government, they
Uh-huh.
are demanding that those countries send the criminals back to Jamaica to stand trial. Evidently, once they committed the trial, they were talking about boats. They take the ship and the boat across,
Uh-huh.
and they want them, but because they're over there, it's like you're getting sanctioned amnesty, okay? But they want them to send them back, deport them back to Jamaica.
Okay, the ones who committed
To
the
stand,
crimes in Jamaica when they flee
yes,
Jamaica, when they flee
they
Jamaica
flee
and go to
Jamaica,
all of these other countries, Jamaica is
yes,
is as
and it's,
well, which that should be, if they caught them over there, then they are going to whatever country that they're in. They should do their prosecution, and they should do their trial if they did commit a crime there in that country as well. And then after they've done whatever time they've done,
well, that's
then they
what
send
they're
them back to
saying. That's
Jamaica
what they're
to be, and
saying.
that's based off of deportation, isn't that
That's what
Mama
Jamaica
Acid?
is saying, but evidently it's not being
Basically,
done.
you commit a crime, you leave.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
They
Right.
just get on the boat and go across there, and they pay. Money talk. Those third world countries, you have the money,
Hmm.
you can get away with all sort of things, and that's what they're doing over there. It's like they're able to pay their way so that they can stay in that country.
But
So
I
Jamaica is demanding that they be sent back
yeah,
to Jamaica to stand trial.
yeah, I agree. I agree. If
But they
they've
can't get
committed
Brazil to send anybody back. Brazil does not agree to any extradition treaty.
extradition,
Not
yeah.
anywhere. Brazil
Yeah.
never sends people back.
I was going to
Mm.
ask that if those other countries have any type of extradition laws, as to,
Well, evidently, I'm quite sure because they're fleeing. This is something that was on the news. They're fleeing to these countries, and Nicaragua. There's a couple of countries that they mentioned, and the Netherlands was one. I think it was Nicaragua and some other countries. They came up in the conversation, and they're saying evidently they're having problem with them deporting these people back. So they're demanding that they deport them back to Jamaica so they can stand trial there for the crime that they committed.
okay. So, Acid, you were saying something in regards to a drug court. Is that drug court just mainly for, any type of drugs like marijuana or cocaine or things like that? Or what
It's for
exactly is
any
this drug court?
it's any drug crime that's committed by a foreign citizen in the United States. So what you were saying about the FBI crime lab in Miami sends their technicians to Jamaica weekly,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and they have their trials
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
in
So
Jamaica.
you think that there are so many persons, foreign citizens that are committing drug crimes in Jamaica that it just needs a court just for itself with all of the other atrocities that are going on in Jamaica. They need a crime
No,
court, period. Just for
no,
crime.
listen.
Uh-huh.
No, listen, you missed it. The FBI is doing this not only in Jamaica, but in almost every Caribbean country. They have established a link with CARICOM, thanks to Mark Shields, and I'll leave off the P word this time. Um, he, okay, let me see if I can say it a nice way. Mark Shields convinced the FBI that since Jamaica was a so-called crime hub, they could focus on Jamaica first before they got everybody else in CARICOM who would agree, who was not an independent nation like Trinidad and now Barbados, that if they provided them some support for criminal prosecution, that they could have a drug court specifically for those from that country who committed drug crimes in the United States, and they go there with the evidence, they convict them under their flag, and then they extradite them to the United States to spend the rest of their life. That's unreasonable to me.
It doesn't make sense.
It's being very effective because they say this is how they break in the Venezuela cocaine link. That's what they call it. So you remember they let go of Maduro's brother-in-law the other day in order to get these 8 people back that were on an oil rig that had gotten captured
But
in Venezuela.
even in Jamaica for a drug court, they had how many million of the cocaine that was busted in Fleming's airport. Then they came again in Mobay and had how many $1 million worth of drugs that was busted. But no one was arrested. I mean, so
They
what is
have
this
two
drug
things
court where
going
no one
on.
is being arrested?
They have two things going on. Okay, first thing that I I really questioned that myself, but I realized after I questioned it that I understood exactly what happened. I'm going to say it. I hope that I don't get spanked for this, and I'm going to use the A word in advance of it to hope that this won't get me spanked. allegedly, when drugs come in, they get put in a drug locker. In that drug locker, nobody knows what's in there because until the FBI tests it and gives it back and says, this is cocaine or this is methamphetamine or this is heroin, Jamaica doesn't admit it is a whatever drug. When these people take these drugs and there is no suspect arrested, they go in the drug locker. What do you think happens to the drug locker when there's no
Okay.
case?
Hmm.
When there's no case,
Those drugs are stolen and distributed.
they're not
Yeah.
stolen.
They're taken.
Use the correct word.
They're
I
taken.
want to go ahead and say it. I want to say I'll use the A word first.
Go
Get
ahead.
it
It's
alleged that some
alleged.
of the drugs in Jamaica right now are better than the drugs in Paris and in New York,
Hmm.
according to some people who've been to Jamaica recently and had some of those drugs. Because now apparently methamphetamine is available in Jamaica.
Yeah, yeah, I heard that.
I didn't even know that until this week.
I heard it.
Well, if Molly and all those other drugs comes in, why would you not think the methamphetamine was going to be there? I mean, like
I
every
this
drug is just about in Jamaica. You know,
you see now it's going to be a
it's a
private.
tourist place where a lot of addicts are traveling to Jamaica and they need their fix on. So these things I feel um maybe mostly sold in a lot of the tourist areas. Yes, it's going into some of the local communities and mashing it up, but
Hotels too. I heard
it's
some of the
something that's
hotels
really,
too.
yeah, something that's really done in I feel the um tourist areas. That's what I would say in regards to those heavy drugs. Those are brought in because the need of it. And it's just sad that a lot of Jamaican communities are being impacted by it, but it was brought in for a reason to service, I think, those individuals in the tourist sectors.
I
But it's
wonder
not
is it
just in
only
the tourist
tourism?
area now. It's all over Jamaica now. It's
Say,
all over Jamaica because that's what some of these wars are about. You know, who's selling the most and who's
yeah,
making the most money off of it by
yeah.
selling it. And it's not just to tourists; they're selling it to the Jamaicans too,
Well,
to the
that's what I
French
said.
too.
That's what I did say. I did say that
Mm-hmm.
it was originally brought in because the market is there and things are being asked for in in the tourism areas, in the tourist areas. And it just so
Mm-hmm.
happened that, casualty of war, it gets the into the other areas and persons experiments, and then,
Yeah.
it become a what we call the epidemic. Yeah. So that's it. It's a sad thing right there to think in a whole court for that big waste as well of taxpayers' money. You know. So we are
I think it's
thanking
financed
Joe.
by the U.S. I think the drug court that has to deal with the FBI in the U.S. is financed by the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that are just joining us and things such as, Mama Acid wants us to, says that we should thank Joe Biden or persons whom have low level marijuana charges, should thank him because, he is pardoning a lot of those cases, and personal use cases. And they not necessarily defined how much ounces or pounds or whatever is considered to be personal uses. So I guess, for those whom have those low level charges, it is something that you all should go look into and to petition and see how you can get your names or your charge, dropped, yeah, pardoned. So yeah, you all should check that out.
Expunged.
Expunged. So check that out. That's some information for you all to check out. Or if you know someone that has a low level charge based off of marijuana, drug charge, then maybe you should have your attorneys or you look into it and see how you can go about getting those charges expunged. And it's an announcement that was made today, Acid.
Yes, it was this afternoon about 2 o'clock.
All righty. So that's some FYI for you folks out there and for anyone that you all may know that is going through, that has these things on their records. So kudos to you, Joe. What do you think in American politics? What do you think? Is that looking for, is that a way for him to get votes? Acid or Queen?
Well,
Well, I don't
I
think so
think
because even right now they brought back up that law in Georgia where they want to legalize marijuana. So in that case, it would be all of them looking for votes. I don't think it's just about votes. I think what it is more or less that maybe they're thinking it's petty. He's thinking it's petty, to arrest. They already have the system overcrowded, the prison system overcrowded. Remember when they were releasing all of those folks? They were releasing them. Well, I think it falls under the same category where the court system is they're over um, um, stressed. Then you have the prison system that is overcrowded. So they're trying to get rid of some of these prisoners that haven't committed serious offenses, and I think that's where it's stemming from,
What about
and
you,
not
Acid? Because
necessarily
we're
him looking for votes.
what about you, Mama Acid? What's your thought on it?
I don't think it's a way to get votes. I think it's a way to be able to create more leverage over certain populations. What he's doing is a fear tactic, and he's enabling the. I really even hate to say this because it makes me angry to say it, but I believe he is enabling the bad parts of the Jamaican government to exercise a rougher hand towards people. And I'm not talking about the people who are doing it. I'm talking about the people who they want to exercise a rough hand towards and using this as a reason to do it because they are not going to mess with the major drug traffickers. And another thing I have to say, it is alleged, using the A word again, y'all, that there are certain hotel chains that specialize in booking certain types of travelers who come from different places and they meet up at those hotels and they do all sorts of deals. We don't know all the things that they're doing. They could be selling hard drives with secret information. They could be selling anthrax vaccine. They could be selling hearts. They could be selling, toes. It's happening. And the government is not doing anything to police any of this because from my understanding, tourism is trying to re-regulate the industry. But they're being met with a lot of opposition from government ministers saying tourism is the top earner for the country and that it should be supported wholeheartedly. That means, let your drug dealers come in because if they're coming in a certain airport, the Chinese one, hint, hint, they are not going to go through any type of detection whatsoever. And when they leave, they're going to leave with the same thing that they came to get. And they're not going to have any problems doing it. And they're not going to spend any money outside of that particular resort. They're going to come, do their business, and then they're going to leave quietly because they don't want to be seen amongst the population. That's how it works.
Look at that police officer that got caught a couple of months ago, about 2 months, 3 months ago, with the cocaine, all that cocaine on her, in her body and on her body.
What in Florida?
Yeah, look at that. I mean, they it's being distributed there, and it's being trafficked there. They traffic it back and forth, from there to America, to Europe, all over the place. That's one of the base there. Jamaica became one of the base because they can easily ship that stuff from Colombia on the ships or on the boats into Jamaica as the port. And once it reaches into that port, then it's easy access for them to. It's on the plane. They found some in the luggage one time on the plane, and nobody would claim it. I mean, that
I just,
pilot's been carrying it
I
who
just,
knows how long.
I just find it so interesting that every time, basically in Jamaica, and they have a drug bust, there's no one being arrested. But if it's here in America, coming from even Jamaica, coming into America, someone always get caught. I just, is it something for us to look at and talk about? Is it the government
Mhm.
that is, like, as it said, the hint hint ching airports that are
Mhm.
airport alleged airport that is bringing in these things, and why no one is being
That's big
necessarily
business. That's big business,
caught,
lady. I mean,
you
that
know.
drug thing is big business. That's how most of those politicians making their money. A lot of those corrupt police officers. That's how they're making their money. That's how the money flows through drugs and drug trafficking.
Mhm.
Okay, but wait, we left out one of the biggest parts.
Whatever.
That is the people coming in to get the surgery. Because you remember, we said we were going to try to get back to that and explain that, because I really think people need to understand that, people are coming from other places in the world to go to this Chinese hospital and get surgery. And that means that those body parts that they need are probably fresh.
Mm. Mm.
And the police
Okay.
aren't doing anything about that. So, I mean, I guess that leads us into Donna Lee, doesn't it?
Wait, yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
brings us into Donna Lee, but there are persons coming from overseas going to Jamaica to have a major surgery. No, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
to the private Chinese hospital.
Okay.
And the body parts and those bodies missing and body parts missing. I mean, and that's why I even said
Is
last
this
week
is
that
this is
it's
this
not
an
only
allegation, or
I'm scared of man.
is this an
Man is just doing all
allegation?
of this.
Is this an allegation? Is this factual that they have persons coming from overseas coming to Jamaica to have surgery?
Okay, let's remember that we can never say anything is factual with the Chinese, because everything with the Chinese is supposition.
Okay.
We don't have access to their airport. We
Hmm.
don't have access to their private hospital. We don't have access to their private police force. Yet all of these things are in Jamaica in existence right now. Those are not allegations. Those are facts.
Mm-mm.
These people are coming there, staying at this particular hospital for months at a time to rehabilitate after getting body parts.
Well, I think
A
that
lady
is
that's a
something.
nurse,
Yeah.
a lady that's a nurse in Florida, who is the friend of, oh, we didn't shout out our truck drivers and our other people. Hey, truck drivers, all of y'all on the Tune In app, big up to y'all. Thank you very much for all the support. We love y'all.
Big up, big up,
And
big
to the
up, big
people in the
ups
barbershop,
for
we ain't trying
to
to
all of
upset
you.
y'all tonight.
To all of you in the barbershop, big ups, our drivers on the road. Be safe. Be safe out there, and pay attention to the road while you're listening to us. And yeah, each and every one all around the world that is listening, we just
Well,
thank you
they
all.
aren't driving. Most of them aren't driving right now. On the East Coast, they've stopped and they shut down. But then now, you're right. They are texting the ones on the West Coast, telling them, because when I found out the ones that were in California were texting the ones on the East Coast, and the ones on the East Coast are like, y'all came in late. We heard all this. All week long, they had a conversation by text message, and I was looking at it in someone's phone, and I said, how did this happen? And they said, because when you sent us the link, we listened in and we couldn't believe what we heard. So we kept trying to figure out between us if it
But
was real or
what we
are
want to
y'all
say,
messing with us.
well, we definitely thank you all for listening. And when you get the links, continue to share the links, share the links. All righty, and send them on over here, either to dapowerhouseradio.com. Let them listen in on their telephone, 667-930-9036, on the TuneIn apps. For those whom are listening on the Victorious 89.1 FM radio station, Conyers, Macon, Monticello, all those areas, Covington.
Fulton
Share,
County.
Fulton, share. Donna says unbelievable, but there's a demand for organs worldwide. Unbelievable, but there's a demand for organs worldwide, and it is true, because you know what, there is a waiting list for organs. So we definitely know that it is something that is needed. But I really want to know, with this, are persons in Jamaica, um are they really aware that these things are taking place, such as there really, really being a Chinese police, um, you know, with their, and having their own, what you call it, policing, and
Okay.
airports, and if for
You
airport,
know who
it's
kind of hit on that? You know who kind of hit on that? Andre. And
uh
they talk bad about him, but really and truly, he's busting Jamaica wide open in many, many
well,
ways.
we've been
Now
busting
he has
Jamaica
a
wide open over here for a long time. We just need to
yes,
get our platform
yes,
more
um,
serious,
yes,
because we've
yes,
been doing
true,
this
true,
over here for the last 15 years, busting um
true.
everywhere, just about wide. But I want to know if the local people of Jamaica, are they really aware
Mhm.
that the Chinese has a separate, that it's alleged that they have a separate police force, a separate um, airport, a separate
Yes,
hospital? And do
but
they
yes,
question, their government? Do they question the government of Jamaica? The
no,
citizens of Jamaica
no,
needs
I
to
suggest
start
I said no.
questioning the government of Jamaica.
They don't want to get killed. And plus, you got to understand how this works, right? You're dealing with rich gangsters. You're dealing with people who are 50, 60 years old, who can't get a heart transplant, can't get a kidney transplant. So they come to Jamaica and they pick out the victim. The person can be basically bought off the street, someone told me. It is alleged that there are times when people in their certain families don't get along with other people, and all of a sudden that person is gone. Can't nobody find the body. The person is just gone, and there's no investigation by the police. So, how is the death certificate issued? That is the question. Jamaica's vital statistics are all messed up. So, does anybody really know how many citizens there are in Jamaica and how many dead bodies are in Dovecot?
Hmm, that's something. That's a question.
That's it.
That's a
That's it.
question.
And that's why I even brought up said Andres even busting things open because all of those things he's bringing to the forefront. Right now, he have another program in the mornings for 1 hour in the morning where he does discuss these things. So even the ones that did not know before, they are knowing now. And Donna Lee, last demonstration on the 4th was showing you how much people are now realizing and how much people are now paying attention to what is going on because of the what he has been bringing to the forefront. I even hear a couple of the bloggers now bigging him up, and before they used to shun him and beat him down. But I heard quite a bit of them now bigging him up and say, hoopla to him, you have to give what you call it to Caesar where it's due. So people are now being more aware. And at that demonstration, which was on Tuesday, it was a big demonstration. A lot of folks turned out. And like I forgot the name of that guy, but he Hype, something Hype, Hype. He the one that said that you have to give respect to Caesar where it's due, and Andre was the one that busted this thing. LA did put some things in it, but Andre was the main character in busting this open, and it's not the only one he have done so with.
Okay,
You know,
Juliet
he's
says
bringing all of these missing folks
Ju-
to the forefront.
Juliet says they're aware, they just don't believe it's true. Therefore, they're not saying anything. Donna says exactly what I've been saying about my mother. Juliet says it's programs like this that is making them a little more aware.
Aware,
Yeah,
yes.
thank you.
All of these
Thank you.
programs, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
All of
um
these
and and
programs.
and with that being said, I think it's something where the citizens of Jamaica needs to start to question their, well, like Mama Acid says, then again, they're afraid to, because we're dealing with money gangsters, you know. And
Yeah.
so I mean, my God, it's just something else. It's
And
just
who are the
something else.
money gangster? The government.
The
They are the
government,
money
yeah,
gangster.
Bingo.
yeah,
They are the money. They are
they're
they are
definitely the money
they are
gangsters.
the gangster, the government, because the government
But you
is
know,
so corrupt. They are so corrupt. I was
but one thing
watching
you
it.
pointed out, you were
Yeah,
talking about this particular policeman. This
yeah,
policeman has been doing stuff all along. These people
yeah.
got all this money. These people have all of this control. Now,
Hmm.
this policeman then popped up in the Donnelly situation.
Okay,
That's not random.
okay. It's not, and it
Mhm.
took 4 months for Andrew, for the prime minister, to acknowledge that she is missing, and that Noel Maitland was wrong in what he did. It took 4 months, and he's still not really coming out and saying it to the public. He's doing it undercover. Okay, so
But he's the prime
all of this
minister. He has to say
conspiracy is
something.
going on.
Say that again, Acid.
What? Well,
I say he's the prime minister. He has to say something.
well, he did. I mean, normally the prime minister do, but he hasn't said. He just beginning to say something. Like I said, he's not coming to the public and saying it. He's still saying it behind closed door. He made some remarks the other day. He had some conference he had with the JCF or whatever they are, the police benevolent. He had some type of conference with them, and that's how that came up, you know. And he didn't even say it out straight out. He sort of went around the bush and
I
said it, you know.
I received the
And
text says that why does
uh
everything Andrew is supposed to know and say? Does Biden speak on every atrocity that happens in America? All of these black on black killings, and Biden doesn't come out, and rapes and kidnapping. Biden doesn't come out and speak on every one of it. So why is basically they're asking why is wholeness supposed to speak on every major case that is happening in Jamaica?
If
Is
if
it's not looked upon
anybody
for.
else don't want to take that, I would like to take that.
Well, go ahead, you take it.
go on.
Okay. First thing, his title is prime minister. That's the first reason. The second reason is this is a major case in your whole country. It's fixated on what happened to this woman. Two, ain't nobody ignoring that. And number three, it involves the police. If you don't say something about something that involves the JCF and possibly the JDF, and now people are trying to figure out who actually is in control on the island, if it's supposed to be you and you're not talking about any of this, are you really in control? Do you really know? Is that why you're being quiet?
Juliet says it's just like here in America and other parts of the world with areas where they feel they can dominate the people with fear and intimidation.
But where's the fear and intimidation in this? The thing is that a crime was committed. This young lady is missing. They found from what was done on Tuesday, and that's why he did not get that bail. What was found out was that this man took this child, young lady, from her mother's house, took her to his house, right? He then killed her. From what allegation is that he hit her with the bottle because of they had an argument. He did that came out in court. This is not hearsay. This came out in court, and it's part of a transcript. And what he did was he hit her evidently with the beer bottle because they had an argument. He said it was an argument they had. He didn't say he hit her with the beer bottle, but evidently he hit her with the beer bottle from what they assumed, and the blood spattered because this is what's convicting him right now. Why they put another charge on him because he hit her with that. The blood spattered on the curtain and on the sneakers. It was all on the couch where he had her, okay, but they could not prove that because he took it to the car wash and had it washed. Him and two other of his buddies, right, and had it washed. But what he did not realize was that there was a spatter of blood on the curtain and on the sneakers. Now, what they did was they matched it with her toothbrush and found the DNA matches the blood stain. The DNA on her toothbrush matches the blood stain that's on the curtain and the sneakers. He went as far as to go to the neighbor, and all of these things are in the court record. He went to the neighbor, told the neighbor that he was up for a promotion and he was smoking a spliff, and that would hinder him from getting that promotion. So if he could erase that section off the tape, that's what he did. About 2 days after, he went back to these two neighbors had the surveillance. One of them had 5 surveillance cameras around, and I guess he did not know that. Anyway, he went again 2 days after to this particular neighbor and told him that he had a friend over and the friend is missing. And if he could view these tapes, evidently the neighbor let him view part of the tape. After he viewed it, he asked if it could be erased, if he could erase it. The neighbor refused. And these tapes have been given to the DA and what's her name? Paula. Paula has the case, and Babs, they call her Babs Grange. She has the case, and she's doing an awesome job. And what happened is now they have that judge, and her name is Judge Vanetta Gray, and she is carrying the case. And like she said, he is reprimanded, and she also put another charge on him where this charge is carrying a life sentence or death sentence. This is carrying where it's about him disposing of a corpse. It's burial of a corpse and this was done in the circuit, unlawful burial of a corpse. Okay. So
Yeah, but then
there's a lot
I've
of
read
stuff coming
something.
out.
I read something as well that said that
hmm
the all of these are fabrications and allegations that are being made. There's no actual proof. There's no actual proof as to that there was really blood like that on the couch that was cleaned, you know, and so there's that's what his attorney was sent out a statement as to that don't believe the hype as to all of what was being presented
Well,
in the
that's what
courts.
Calvin is
So
saying.
yeah, and Juliet says that based off of her statement that she made, can dominate the people with fear and intimidation. She said that she's talking about why most people don't report a crime in Jamaica, and that's
Okay,
definitely true, Juliet.
that's true.
But
Right.
yeah, with the Donna Lee, I guess we're gonna have to continue to watch
Should they go back on
this.
the 16th? He go back to court on the 16th.
He goes back. Oh yeah, because they did deny
Yeah,
him
October
bail,
16th.
and
Yeah, they do now.
yeah, and well, the individual out of Florida that sent me that message, I'm not calling
Mm.
names, in regards to the question of Biden, and Mama answered and answered you on that, and the rebuttal was that yes, well, Biden still, high profile or not, Biden still doesn't answer to everything. That was the response back, Mama Acid, and Queen, from the
Mm-hmm.
caller out of Florida. Okay, so yeah, the so we're gonna continue to watch this case with Noel Maitland. Maitland is his name, correct? Noel Maitland, and
Yeah, don't make them.
we'll see
Yeah,
what comes of it. But even if a lot doesn't come from the murder, then I think a lot needs to be investigated in regards to his assets, where he gets it, how he pays for such a lavish lifestyle on that type of salary. So in some form or way, there's corruptions and things going on in his life. Period.
yeah, yes. So, yeah, they did a biography on his family and what have you, and from what this alleged that his whole family, they were witchcraft, or they worked witchcraft, and they were the biggest witchcraft person in the district. His grandfather, and there's a biography out on on YouTube about his family, coming from his great grandfather all the way up to him. So they're saying there's a curse on him because he has done so much things in the district, and that's why he ran away to
What
Kingston, to where he is now.
did they
But
say
it's
where
a
he's
lot of
from?
accusation. Uh,
Did they say where he's from? The actual community, that district
yes,
that he's
where
from?
he was born. Yeah, where he was born, district where he was born.
Yeah, no, I'm
It's
saying, did they tell us
upper
which?
Kingston, where that place up there, Stony Eyes, up that area. They
Okay,
said it's like country. Uh-huh. But there's a documentary on YouTube about that,
okay.
about his history, his life, his family history. It's alleged. But anyway, the Jamaica laws is so messed up. It is really messed up. Right now, I found out that they don't really have a stable law in terms of um, um, that protects the workers in Jamaica, because there's this guy that is on TikTok. He came on TikTok, and this was pertaining to them two girls, the one that stabbed the other girl. And what happened was they fired him because he made a remarks about the young lady that she should be um, put away. And because of that, they called him in the office the next day, and they stripped him of his badge and all of that, and told him that he was fired. Now, like he was told, this lawyer from England, he was on the phone, and what he was saying is that he didn't know his right. He said he was forced into signing that agreement, that he resigned because he didn't know his right. And a lot of these Jamaicans, they don't know their right. So, and the government, it's so corrupt that they don't really put the facts out there, and these people don't know their rights. So they go on and they do anything that they feel will save them from being fired or what have you. But he did the wrong thing, and there's nobody he can go to right now. He's gonna lose his salary, his 2 months salary. He's gonna lose. He's gonna lose all of that because he signed that contract stating that he resigned. So the laws are so corrupt in Jamaica that it makes you wonder, you know, how can that be changed? I mean,
How do any
who is in charge of anything
have
else?
any of you ladies look researched back, because I haven't, in regards to the new party? Are they still out there trying to get recognized? What's the name of that party again? Oh my god.
I can't remember names. I have it written down. I don't have it here with me.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
obvious.
independent people. I don't know what their name is either, but they're
Yeah,
not doing nothing.
they're not doing anything because I don't hear, and that's the thing. No one can remember their name because they're not visible. They're not out
And not
there
visible.
and making themselves visible to the citizens of Jamaica to be able to even consider voting, voting for them
Uh,
at all. Yeah, so it's a sad case with the Donna Lee case, and it's a case
mm-hmm.
that is ongoing, and it's being talked about everywhere for those whom are unaware of it. You can go on YouTube. There's a lot of information in regards to it on Google. And
Yeah,
it's a young lady that they're still trying to find, and she's presumed to be dead. And Noel Maitland is alleged to, or his partner have are alleged to have murdered her. So
yeah,
we're going to continue this entire we're going to continue to watch. And I know that Queen
yeah.
definitely have a passion in regards to the Donnelly
Yeah,
case.
justice must be served.
Justice must
Too
be
many
served.
of them missing. Too many young ladies missing. Yeah,
That's it. Mama Acid,
yeah.
you had anything else to chime in regards to Donnelly or Jamaica government? Because since
I
we're
just
on
hope
the
that they
Jamaica government,
install her body in somebody's body and send it back to China.
that would just be critical. That would be critical.
Mm-mm.
Queen, you were bringing up something in regards to the Messam family as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Again, that's some messy family affair again. It's this thing been going on for quite a while now. I think last week I told y'all about Beatrice and her brother Tom and Paul Massey. And Paul Massey is a principal. Allegedly, he has been molesting children, not just now, but for years he's been doing this. And Beatrice was one of those that he molested. Um, um, this and this is a cousin of Beatrice. Beatrice left Jamaica real young, at 16, 17. She left and went to England, and she hadn't been back to Jamaica till the other day. She went back to Jamaica, and when she went back, she was faced by an uncle, and the uncle told her what went on, and we talked about that last week.
yeah, because I was gonna say
Lady,
skip over all
yeah.
of that because we
Yeah, we
basically
did
know
all that.
the
So what
the
happened
story.
now? There's another sister that came out now. Her name is Melva, and Melva came on, and Melva was really upset with Tom. Tom is the brother, and he's the brother of both Melva and Beatrice. But he has been saying some really bad things about Beatrice, not knowing. I found out that Tom is 9 years younger than Beatrice. So when Beatrice was going through this at 6, 7 year old, Tom didn't know about that because he wasn't even born then. So all that he was saying on media, on the media, was not valid because he wouldn't have known these things. But the uncle did tell her, and she did verify that there's a mark on the kitchen wall where the uncle chopped it. Okay, so now this one is coming out now. This sister is coming out, finding out that she was molested by four of the nephews. Okay, and these nephews are my son also. Okay, and she took it to court, and this is how corrupt the Jamaican government is. Tom, who is the father of one of the nephews, he has friends in the police force, And when she went to court, she had also friends. He had friends in the judicial system, more or less, I should say. So when she went to court, because she did file charges against the nephews, and when they went to court, this child was like 11, 12 years old when all four of them was molesting her. And when they went to court, the verdict was thrown out because Tom, the brother, who said he's the family lawyer, he done talked to his friends and they made deals and what have you.
So
So it's alleged that because of that, the case didn't get anywhere.
okay,
And she
so
is
what
looking for,
yeah, what
excuse
exactly
me?
is going on like right now? Why is the Messam situation so important right now? Are they prominent
Be-
persons in Jamaica that are making decisions, or is this just a family that's airing their dirty laundry out? Is charges
she
being
is trying to get the court system to look into it after all these years. This has been going on since 2010, but
mm,
now she is back in the court system trying to get them to look at her case and to retry the case because she did not get any justification when this occurred, and it's affecting the young lady. Now she's 25 years old, and it's affecting her badly. So the mother wants retribution for what was done to her. And she said she had been to several politicians. She said she went as far as to get with some of those musicians and artists just for them to have a voice for her, and no one would pay her mind. So she's bringing it out now, hoping that with her bringing it to the forefront, she will get help. Beatrice don't care. Beatrice says she's going back to England, and whatever they want to do, she cut them off anyway. So
mm,
it's now between Tom and the other sister, the one I just told you. It's between them. They're battling it out because Tom does not believe that Paul Messer is capable of molesting any kids. He's taking up for him because that's his cousin and they're friends.
okay, Acid,
Um,
what do you
and
also know
and
about this Messam case? Do you know anything about it?
Not much, but I had heard that this family is notorious for the way that they bully people around them because they just seem to have power over people. I start
hmm
looking into that after she spoke about it last week, and I asked some people, and they said, "Oh yeah, those are some. You don't want to mess with them people."
yeah,
Okay.
and I heard it's a lot of them.
So
Hmm
the Messam clan is a big clan in Jamaica that
In
another
power,
set of
yeah, in
people that
power,
is in
yeah,
power and sets their own rules. So
yeah.
you know, I don't think we can ever get out of the corruption in Jamaica, the corruption in government, corruption in in all of the um what can we say, all of the law um outlets of Jamaica, JDF, JCF. I mean, just everywhere you look, it's nothing but corruption. So I wonder how can Jamaica, or will Jamaica ever become clean of that, with it being in everywhere that we look. It's just nothing but corruption, from sexual assault to drugs. I mean, it's madness. So as we move, anything else you wanted to add to that, Queen, with the Messam?
No, no, she's just seeking justice. That's basically it. The mama and the daughter, because like she said, she was molested by her own family members, and they're all siding with it, including the grandma who died. See,
Okay,
they say she's the ringleader.
okay.
She was
Juliet.
the
The
ringleader.
grandmother was the ringleader.
Yes, they said
Yeah,
grandma
they
was the
said
ringleader.
grandma. Yeah, last week we discussed it where the mother was in the kitchen, and was watching
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah, I
father,
remember that
yeah, the
part. Oh
father
yeah,
having
and
the
she didn't say
son,
nothing.
yeah, the son to
She
rape.
died now, and she left the house to Beatrice, and Tom wants it. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's creating so much conflict with Tom, because the grandma trying to compensate for what happened to Beatrice, and she willed the house to Beatrice.
Oh,
So it's a fight going on out there, a big fight with him. That's why all of this stuff surfacing. And the sister, she Viola, she wants justice for her daughter. She said so. She never got the justice, and she
Ju-
want the government to pay attention and see what is going on and start investigating the police force and what they're covering up.
well, the police force seems to have a lot of investigation needs to be done on them, and I'm wondering whom is going to investigate them. Gillette made a statement um, previously, and it says that's why my mama used to say, "Never sign anything you don't understand, and they can't explain to
Yeah,
you." She had
yeah.
wrote that earlier in the comments. As we move on, anything else in the Jamaica government, ladies, before we move on? And then I just wanted to make a statement. We're gonna do a quick station ID, and I wanted to make a statement after the station ID.
We're
One
not going to talk
thing.
about the death penalty again, right? No.
Mm,
That's where I was gonna go, Queen. Llewellyn,
Okay.
right? So y'all mentioned Pauline Llewellyn earlier. I didn't say
Mhm.
anything because I wanted to say something along the lines of exactly where we are now. When you clean up, you have to start from the top and clean all of it up. You can't leave any of it. And she is at the top of it with Horace Shang. So now that Babsy has drawn herself into it, it makes me
Mm.
wonder, is she trying to form a triad? Because Babsy has always been in with certain particular alleged gangs. And we've seen
Mm.
pictures, we've seen all kind of things. And we might have a lot of love for Babsy because she's very much like us, but Babsy isn't like us. And for those who think she is, just keep watching. You're going to see her sides unravel real soon.
in what
Jamaica,
way?
Mm.
as I like to call them, Jamaica Constabulary Force is the Jamaica Contracting Force. They
Mhm,
take all the
mhm,
contracts on the island. They don't turn none down.
mm, mm.
Mm.
All right, let's take a quick
No,
station.
but wait. One thing I noticed nobody brought up about these funeral homes.
What about the funeral homes?
Mm.
Queen,
What about the
weren't we
funeral
talking
homes?
Yeah.
about this week?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
thought we
told you what
discussed
they're
that
doing.
last week about the funeral home and the allegations that they're police officers that owns them, and they are using that as a form of putting people ashes in them or transporting. I mean, what else in regards to the funeral homes?
Well, they want to know
Making
how
bodies.
they get that money, how they get the money to do all of this on a policeman's salary.
Well,
Right, right.
what we definitely know, it's nothing straight about it. It's absolutely nothing straight about it. It's not like they're making the salary. Obviously, we know that there have to be some type of drug ties, some type of unless there's a couple of them that is putting together and pooling their money together to open these funeral homes. And then let's
I don't
also
see how.
say,
Not for $1 million hearse. No, no.
well, let's say this. Suppose they start out, I don't think they just opened up like that and started with this $1 million hearse. I mean, with the amount
But
of death, with the amount of killing and murders that is going on in Jamaica, at one point I even said maybe I need to open one of those funeral homes because they make it all the money. I mean, the
But
amount of
but now
murders
they're
a
saying they're one
day.
on every corner.
Huh?
Yeah.
The amount of
Mm.
murders
Now
a
they're saying
day.
that there's one on every corner.
Yeah, they have to be rich. I mean, these funeral homes have to make bucos of money. Every single day there's not less than 10, there's not less than 20 people perishing. I mean,
But do the funeral homes get all the bodies?
No. And
so who else get the bodies?
it's out there.
Besides
They just
besides
found one
besides the
day
one
before
besides
yesterday.
the
They
one
found
that
a young woman
besides the one that we're
body
saying
in the
that
dump.
that is alleged
In the
that may
dump.
be taking organs and dumped or whatever. Whom else is getting the bodies after they leave the hospitals? Then if they even make it there, it's the funeral homes getting all of the remains, the limbs and the parts that are cut off. I mean, who else gonna get the bodies though, Acid? Since you posed the
Okay,
question.
my question is this,
Mhm.
and I'm making this question because I talked to somebody in my family this week who owns a funeral home, and we don't talk much. But one of the questions I asked them was, "What happens when nobody claims a body?" And he said, "If depending upon how it's processed, the funeral home could end up having that body for a while, and then they have to petition the court to be able to bury it. This is in America. They have to petition the court to be able to bury it in a pauper's field.
Right, they go
So
Pottersfield,
if
yeah.
it's so if it's a cremated body, it, they don't do that. They just keep it in the box and they keep it in the funeral home. Now, who is testing those ashes and who is verifying that the ashes in those boxes are those people whose names are on those boxes? Because quite frankly, we know live births in Jamaica and live and death records in Jamaica are messed up. That's why it's hard to get a passport. That's why it's hard to get original birth certificate. That's why everything in Jamaica is so problematic. And that is intentional. I haven't spoken about this in a long time because I hadn't really thought about it until I talked to my cousin. And I said, I need to understand this because there's something that is going on that I don't quite understand, but I want to understand. And I said, what happens in the Caribbean when people die? And he said, we pick up the body, you take the body down to the lab, and you put the body on ice, and then the people make the arrangements. And if nobody comes to make the arrangements, then you have to contact the coroner in order for them to figure out how they want the body preserved because they are responsible for it. Now, I'm going to say this. We never mentioned the coroner in Jamaica. Have you ever heard about the coroner in Jamaica?
Yeah, I've heard about Court in Jamaica. They only had two. One died. I don't know if they've replaced that one that passed away about a year ago, and then there was only one on the entire island that had to go from north to east and from north to south and from east to west. And persons were sitting there waiting a whole month before they were um before they were
They could
checked
get the
upon to be
documents.
diagnosed on what they passed away on. And yeah, so I've heard about them, and I've heard about there was only two at one time, and then one got in a car accident and passed away, and there was only one. But that was back in 2021. So I'm not sure
Okay, so my
if they
point
got
is,
another one right now. What's your point?
my point is, every one of these hospitals has to have a coroner on staff. They cannot sign death certificates if there's no coroner to sign them. Every single hospital in Jamaica has to have a coroner on staff. It's just the way it is, okay? If you die in the hospital, they have to take you down to the morgue and they have to have somebody to receive your body. That's the coroner. Now, when the coroner lets the body leave the hospital with whomever is picking it up, they have to have somebody sign for that body because that body is not just going to go out in somebody's trunk and ride away. That body has to be signed for and they have to have a
Your family,
certification.
okay, with my experience with it, um uh, your family, when a person passes away, they're there. The family calls for the morgue, for the funeral home, and your family is the one that signs for that particular funeral home to pick up the body. And before I even continue to go into that, Donna says they're involved in white collar crimes. That's why the police have so much money. In answer to one of our questions, but yeah, they pick up. Your family signs for your body to be released to the funeral home. The funeral home cannot make a funeral date with you until the coroner comes to the funeral home and tell you what was the cause of death. So they were persons
You know
who
what? You
were
know
there.
that's not how it works in University Hospital.
Okay,
And I'm
well,
talking about from personal experience.
what I'm speaking of is personal experience as well. So I guess in some hospitals it's something different than other hospitals, but I'm just going off of the procedure that I know that took place. The person passed away. The family signed for a particular funeral home to come and get it, and then they had to wait for a month before the coroner came to give the cause of death. And that's where it was stated that there was two coroners on the entire island of Jamaica. And that one coroner came around at that particular time. You had to wait for the coroner to come around at that particular time, and to in this area. If it's in Trelawney area, that's where he's coming, and he's going to look at everyone who passed away in the Trelawney area on this date or in this time frame. Then he moves on to the next area. And that's what was presented as to how it works. So I'm not sure how it works in university. I'm just speaking off of my experience. I don't know of your
Okay,
experience.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. All right.
Okay.
One of my cousins died from COVID. They were in university. They okay, you spend all your money to go to university. When the cousin died, the first thing that happened was they moved him out of the room, out off the floor, down to the morgue. Another cousin called me and said he's downstairs, he's dead, blah blah blah. And so I said, what are y'all gonna do now? She said, we have to decide who is gonna care for the body. And so I said, okay, cool. So do they keep the body there, or do you have to call and have somebody pick it up today? And she said, no, the coroner at the hospital takes custody of the body. So the coroner signed the death certificate, and when the hospital let the body go, they let it go to the funeral home, and the funeral home was in Mobile. They took the body, they processed the body, and a week later, they called and said, okay, what date do you want to have the funeral? Because it was a bunch of people coming from overseas, and it was right at towards the end of the COVID problem where they were starting to let people in. So when people came in, this is the other side of my family, the married side of my family. They had a lot of problems with people having different types of issues getting in. Like, do you have this COVID test? Have you done this? Have you done that? And people that didn't have all that stuff, some of them had bought tickets, but they still couldn't get in. And they actually had to turn around at the airport and go back. When they had the body, they put the body, this is what really freaked me out. She sent me a picture. They put the body in a plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag. And I'm like, what is this? And she said, this is how they have a safe funeral in Jamaica. And I said, this makes no sense. And so she said, then they close the casket and they take the body to go and bury the body. So I asked her, has she been to any other funerals where the people were in plastic bags? And she said, no, this was because of COVID. So I wanted to understand that whole thing. So I called someone and I asked them, and they said, yes, if you have a private funeral and you have a private hospital and you have a private coroner, you can set your funeral whenever you want it because you're paying for it. But if you're doing it like everybody else, where you got to wait for the coroner, the coroner who's going to sign the birth and death or sign the death record, that is a long wait. Exactly like you said. So a lot of people who have the money pay for the private hospital so they can have the private record. That's the only reason for it.
Okay.
Because he wasn't in that hospital 3 days.
Okay, well, I don't know that process, but this is the process that was told to myself. Um, so I guess in every areas they have their own process. Like you say, money talk, BS walk.
That's
So
it. That's
maybe
it.
as you're saying, certain money exchange was involved, and that brings something different. But yeah, that's there. So as we move on, is that all we're dealing with Jamaica government? Because we still have American government, and I want to do the quick station break and go on, just make a statement in regards to a little girl that got hit in a hit and run incident here in Atlanta. So let me do a quick station update.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
Victorious 89.1 WAKP. Your unity in the community station.
Okay. My statement in regards to the young girl in Jonesboro, that was it was a little 7-year-old girl. Her and her parents was staying at a hotel, like one of those live-in stays. Um the parents went out and was working. They were delivering food, um, you know, in order to make a living. And they left the children in the home by themselves. In the hotel room, I guess a 9-year-old and another age and the 7-year-old. Well, they also left the phone for the bigger ones, I guess, to call if there's any situation. But they had to go out to, you know, make money to pay for, obviously, to pay for where they're staying. And these are something that I feel that the government ought to get involved in, and speak up on, help these families, because it wasn't like these parents went out. I understand about not leaving children alone, especially young children such as that, alone in anywhere. But for me, I felt it for the parents. They've not only lost their daughter, a 7-year-old child, but they also were arrested for leaving that child in the hotel. And yeah, the hotel, the live and stay is off of a main road. But I sit and I think and says, these people needed help. They needed help, as they weren't out there partying, they weren't out there selling drugs, they weren't out there being careless. They were out there trying to work, to provide for their family, and they're in a live-in, one of those live-in hotel rooms. That tells me that they couldn't even afford an apartment. They couldn't afford an apartment, because right now the cost of living, even here in Georgia,
Mm.
is so high for even just a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, that these families in live and stay, and both of them had to go out to work and left the children in the home. No excuse once again, but I sympathize with them because of the fact that I know of persons that may be doing that, having to go out at night and may leave their kid in the home. And, back in the days, I can say 1 or 2 times I may have been guilty of that, having maybe a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old and having to run out and having them to wake up my daughter in the morning and get her dressed so that I could go off to work, because there's no help. And to also, it broke my heart to also see them be arrested um for murder. The person who hit the child, it was a hit and run, so they still haven't even found that person. So that now leaves other children now to be without their parents. They're already homeless, just about, you can call that to be in a living stay. And now they've lost their parents, they lost their younger siblings, the grief that they may be going through. And all that we can think about is to lock them up. I just had to mention it. I feel very sympathetic in regards to their plight, and that there was no family member that they could have left their children with so that they could go out at nights and work. And a lot of individuals are facing that. It's a lot of persons out there doing the same thing right now. And they need help. Our government needs to help these people is check, especially the ones are whom are in live and stay um hotels. Just help them out to know that they're in there, should at least let you know that they can't even afford an apartment. What Most of these buildings that are being built is either being built for seniors, or they're turning them into condominiums. And what happens to these families? They are left out in the cold. They're not getting Section 8. If they're getting a little bit of public assistance, is not that much public assistance that they are getting to assist them. I just mentioned it because I just really, really just felt like OMG for these parents, because they're really out there trying to make a way for their family. And this unfortunate incident happened, and now their children are taken away from them, which is another blow, as well as them being charged for murder for their child. I mean, it's just a sad case.
Years ago, they used to have, lady, years ago, they used to have programs that 24-hour programs, and you was able to get a voucher if you couldn't afford child care, those 24-hour child care. Because I used to work in one, and you would get a voucher, and that voucher would entitle you for a child or a family of X amount of children to go to that 24-hour daycare in the nighttime if your parents had to work. Those things, it seemed like they just vanished, you know? And this
There's no
all
help.
goes back to our government,
Yeah.
our 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 governors, our mayors. They took away all these programs. You had Cardinal McCaskey. You had all of these programs. You had Bruce Street, where these children could go and was cared for, with fundings from the government. Now all of those programs disappeared.
Yeah.
So I feel it for her, because I know of, again, like you said, of people in that position, and it's
Yeah.
sad. It's really
And
sad.
it is sad because not only when you think of other persons in the position, you not only just thinking about a little girl in in a living stay and being hit by a car, but you have fires that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's all sorts of things
Mm-hmm.
that can happen in these homes or these places where families are living that are having hardships, and that requires for both parents to be out there working. And maybe both parents maybe don't have to work the same time, but then some of them do have to work the same time, especially with delivering the food. I'm not sure if they were both together in the vehicle, but you know
Mm-hmm.
it's an atrocity. Juliet,
It's sad.
Donna says that they shouldn't have been arrested. I agree. Gillette says, and those hotels are as much as some apartments without all those paperwork and checking credit stature. In other words, it's harder to get in an apartment than in one of those hotels. Yeah, it is. It,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
sad, and for these parents to not only lose their child, but have their other children taken away, and from them, and on top of it, be charged with murder for trying to make a living, trying to provide for your family. All of this just takes place. It's just a sad, sad,
These money they're
sad
using on these wars,
situation.
they need to
Yeah.
trigger some of those monies in our communities and help these families.
Yeah.
They're sending
It's
so much money overseas
yeah.
to that war that is going on over there
Yeah.
when home needs it, and those things is not right.
Right. It's
Hmm.
it's it's
Take care of
9:40.
home.
It's 9:44. We're going to definitely be logging off for 10 today. And so we're going to rush quickly through these other two last topic, American government. Mama Acid brought to our attention Dr. Oz and Dr. Oz cruelty to animal, and what is not being done in regards to Dr. Oz. And it brings us back once again to knowing whom we're voting for and to research these individuals, as well as Herschel Walker, because it has came out in the news, the person that's running for senator here in Georgia that's going against Reverend Warnock, a Democrat, and Walker is a black man, melanated skinned man, whom is running under the Republican seats. And Gillette said something else. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I continue, and did you know that you don't get credit for living in those hotels, even though you're paying all of that money? Yeah. No, I did not know that. But going on to Dr. Oz and Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker, I mean, some of these politicians are so controversial. You know, Herschel Walker is totally against abortion and things such as, but yet it has came out that he paid for or reimbursed um a young lady for having an abortion. Then he denied that he even know this person. But today it came out in the news that it's alleged that this young lady is one of his baby mamas.
Hmm.
And they're
Hmm.
saying, how could you deny that you know her and she has a kid for you? So I mean, what can we say, Mama Acid? You want to elaborate a little bit on Dr. Oz?
Well, I wanted to say something about Herschel Walker first.
Okay. And then Queen, you can go
Okay.
in, and then after Queen goes in, then we just gonna touch 5 minutes, and next week we can continue about the T-shirts that are saying White Lives Matter. But go ahead, Mama Acid.
When you play games like that and you sign checks and you give people those checks, do you not think that people have copies of those checks with your signature on it? That's the first part of it. And receipts. They had the actual physical receipt from the abortion clinic. Okay? And then we went back after she had the abortion and had another baby with her. And the baby that he had with her is Christian Walker, his son, who is always on the internet screaming and hollering about how his father is a liar and how he's a hypocrite. So if your own kid is busy talking about your DNA, do you think we should trust you? My vote is no.
And they said that the family, it's alleged that the family begged him not to run because they felt that all of this laundry was going to come out, and it did. And politicians has to know that people dig up every crevice and corner of your life when you're running for these political positions. You have to know Juliet said he was a good football player, but a crummy liar. A crummy liar, I'm telling you.
But he can't
Man.
spell and he has no rhythm either.
Oh my gosh, you going to rhythm and blues. What about that? What about Dr. Queen? Did you want to touch Herschel Walker? And then Mama asked, did you
Well,
come back to
like
Dr.
I said,
Oz?
there's a lot of stuff coming up. I've never seen so many white folks against a politician, a Republican politician. I mean, Republican white folks I'm talking about against him. This woman says she has been a Republican all her life, but this man is such a liar. He said talking about him having 800 workers when he
Employees.
only have 8 workers. He's coming out with all sort of stuff. I don't know why he has to lie. You're gonna just come on straight up, like the lady said. You know it's gonna come out. So why hide it? Why tell lies? You
Because
know,
you know why?
especially lies like those.
You know why? Because there are dunce people in this world that is still going to vote for him. There are
Yeah.
his he is 42% in the polls. So there are 42% of Republicans or voters that are still willing to vote for him, even with all of what has been coming out. You would even think when the ex-wife came out and said he threatened her,
The
what he
gun.
did to her, that
Hmm.
his ratings will fall. No, his ratings went up. His it's like the more violence and the more lies that he is saying, it's making his ratings go up. So I don't know if voters are feeling that some of the Democrats are making some low blow punches and they're going to just stick with him anyway. And like I said, even
Yeah.
last week, it is no longer based off of these candidates' qualifications, but it's based just off of party, just
Party.
like
Mm.
Jamaica. It's based off of PNP or JLP in America. It's based off of Democrats or Republican. It's not the person. You know, when I'm reasoning with people, they're like, oh, yeah, us Republicans and this and that. But listen to whom is running. You're defending the Republican Party versus defending the candidates that are running and what they're preaching, what they're standing for. That is what we ought to be looking at. You know, Gillette says, I remember when he won the Heisman Trophy, and I was proud then and disgusted now, in regards to Herschel Walker. I mean, but it comes down to people and their mindset, and how can we change these mindsets from just looking at party and start to really, really look at the individuals whom we are voting for. Mama Acid, Dr. Oz?
Dr. Oz is a murderer and a liar, and he likes to play games with people, thinking that all of his receipts are hidden in the drawer when they're all on top of the desk. He killed 600 plus animals. I mean, he killed 1,000 at least. And to see this and to see that Dr. Oz is still thinking that people can't find out where he lives when he's making videos in his Saddlebrook, New Jersey home, claiming that he's running for governor of Pennsylvania. How can you be running for governor of Pennsylvania if you don't live in Pennsylvania? That's the first question. Okay, so today, John Fetterman came out with a really good video about Dr. Oz, and it is hilarious. So if you get a chance, go on YouTube and look for John Fetterman's video with The Simpsons, all about what's going on with Dr. Oz, because Dr. Oz is not just a liar, he's a conniver and a cheat. That's why he was removed from Columbia Medical School. That's why none of his supporters stood up with him when they removed his TV show. And that's why he's been sued over and over and over for all of these crappy and fake, bogus products he's always endorsing. Dr. Oz is a bad deal. Don't vote for him. Vote for John Fetterman.
Well, once again, it comes down to party. And Gillette says, that's true, lady. That's why the first thing they ask is if you're a Democrat or Republican. And it comes back down to, even if we want to use Dr. Oz versus Fetterman, is everyone looking at both candidates' background, qualifications, you know, but not just qualification, but their background, what they stood for, research and what they've done. Is the press doing their jobs and researching these individuals and putting it out there so that the listening, the voting, the citizens of America that can vote are aware of these past acts and things. And that is the big issue. It's regarding not being personalized, it's being party wise, and that's
Oh,
the
one other thing.
downfall of the entire American government, Jamaican government, all of most of these governments. Go ahead.
Okay, one other thing. Somebody pointed out to me, and I hadn't thought about it, but a person that I talk to sometimes on a daily basis on my blog from Tumblr, hey, Tumblers, said to me, why didn't Oprah endorse him? And I had to, and she sent a little winky face afterwards. And I said, ooh, she was the one who broke the window.
Mm, mm.
Oprah did not endorse Dr. Oz.
Okay. Well, we as voters, once again, the time is coming. I mean, the primaries are November the 5th. We're like a month away. We're like a
Really?
month
That's going
away.
to be the
So less
17th
than a
of
month
October.
away, less than a month
Yeah.
away. So we all need to start now to um, really look at the individuals whom we are voting for. And if it is necessary to cross party lines, then yeah, we need to go on and cross these party lines, to put the best person whom have the best interests of us, the citizen of the United States of America or any country in those seats. Okay.
You know, my girlfriend Angie said that today. She said if she has to writing, she's gonna write in. She's gonna
Yeah,
write it
right,
in.
right, right in things. Um, Real
Hmm.
quick, white Lives Matter T-shirt that Kanye West is going around with. What's you all thought, real quick, on it, Queen?
Oh Lord of
Do you know
mercy.
anything in
Are
regards
they
to it?
oppressed? Are they oppressed? Uh, are they oppressed? Oppressed? What life? They have life. Black folks have life. Anyway, I'm not even gonna touch on that. I'm done. Done. Move on, lady. Move on to Mama Ashes.
Mama Acid?
Well, garbage is garbage. We saw it. We all know what it means. And then we can basically look at it and understand. Can I talk about two other things that are a little bit more important just to drop them in here?
Yeah, we can, but why I even brought that up in regards to the White Lives Matter, and I'm one for, yeah, all lives matter. Black, white, brown, green, all lives matter. But what brought me to the attention, I don't like the shirt idea, but what brought it to me was Celia Marley, Bob Marley's granddaughter. She called out critics of her participating in Kanye West's surprise ZZ Paris Fashion Week show, where he and the models wearing the new line White Lives Matter printed. The model 23 took to her Instagram story to clap back at critics who have expressed outrage regarding the line. Sela, whose mom is Lauren Hill, accused critics of being stuck in a hive mind mentality. Okay. She said that critics of the shirts are stuck in a hive mind mentality. And it says Celia, whose grandfather was famed musician Bob Marley, expanding on her thoughts and how she felt that the so-called hive mind mentality contributed to the backlash directed at the 808s and Heartbreak Rappers show. You do what the group tell you to do and think what the group tells you to think. Witnessing someone break free from the agenda sends you all into such a panic that you will do whatever it takes to force them back into the box that you feel they should exist in. All moral and empathy is eliminated. due to the fact that you feel justified by your emotion. The victims becomes the victimizers, she wrote. And I was just like, okay. I wanted to know your thoughts on the shirt and her clapback of the hive mind mentality. But
Does she know her DNA line? Does she know if she's an octoroon or a quadroon or a mulatto?
I told you.
Maybe that's why she's defending the show, because she's trying to defend one of those strands of DNA.
I'm leaving it alone.
I'm gonna say this: who is her daddy, and who is her daddy's mama? Oh,
okay. All right. So what was the other topic? Well, what did you say you want to touch besides that one? I just wanted to leave that right there.
Okay, two things. One is a new potential tropical cyclone called Julia, and people on the West Coast better be paying attention because this girl is moving fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing is,
Caribbean. Right now, it's messing up Barbados, flooding.
Yep, that's right.
I mean, Barbados, Trinidad, all of that's trend right there.
Yeah, that's
It's
so we just
messing it up.
definitely want to send our loves out to each and every one that is affected by Julia or that whom was affected by Ian. Because Ian caused havoc in Florida and
Cuba, all of them
all of
places.
all over the place. Ian was someone said to me, Lady Dia, I wish woman left Ian but Ian get so vexed.
The one who
I
went
said,
before. What was her name? Dora? What was her name?
I said, Lord, that was a
Dora
good
went the
one.
other way. She went the other way. They coming together and she went the other way. So
Okay.
he was mad.
So we're gonna get up on out of here, out of the air chairs. Myself, Mama Acid, Queen, man, enlightening.
No, it's two other things.
Oh, go
Two
ahead.
other things.
Go ahead.
U.S. is screening passengers from Uganda and other places in East Africa for Ebola. When you land in the United States, they are screening you if you came from East Africa, specifically Uganda, for Ebola.
Okay.
And another thing is,
I don't mind them screening.
okay, I know I should have just been quiet right then because that's a lot to say, and people are probably like, "Oh no, she didn't."
What you
So
say?
we can table it for next week.
No, go ahead. What else were you saying? What was the third one?
The third one is kind of hard because it's very uncomfortable to talk about it, but I think we need to talk about both of these two things. One, North Korea has launched the sixth ballistic missile.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about that.
And has launched its sixth missile in 12 days over Japan, and they've had U.S. warships and planes scrambled, and they are doing military exercises now, letting North Korea know that if they fire another weapon, they are going in on them. Also, this is another part of the cycle with Putin, because when Putin can't do something, he uses one of his so-called friends or allies to do it. And all the missiles in North Korea got all of their uranium from Russia. Okay,
Yeah,
and
we
the
have to
other one
touch
is
that.
kind of, this one is really kind of ugly, but we gotta wrap it up with this one.
Yeah.
There was a man in the Republic of Thailand who killed 36 people. He shot two teachers. One of them was 8 months pregnant, and a police officer, and he stabbed 32 children with a knife and killed every one of them. 32 children.
32 children. We send our condolences.
My question is this. Okay, I know that is shocking, but I gotta say this, and I really, really hope people can understand why I'm saying this. First thing, I'm gonna justify it by saying I'm a mother and a grandmother. Why is he in police custody? All of the evidence of his crime was right there in front of them. Why did not a machete carrying grandmother come in there and finish that business?
Man, I mean, what is wrong with these people? It's just like a Texas teen. He stormed into a hospital nursery and he strangled how many newborn babies? I mean, what is going on in this world? And Acid, I think I had sent you something in regards to the reporter trying to get into the superintendent office and trying to video the office, and was going on that that's his
Oh, yes,
constitutional
I
right
saw that.
as
Yes, I saw
as a
that. He
reporter.
got trespassed by the
Yeah,
police.
yeah, and but
Look at the,
I'm like, with all of these
look at the
atrocities that are
picture.
happening, and why would they even as a reporter expect to just walk through buildings with with not even an agenda? I understand freedom of press, I understand all of those things, but in lieu of what is going on, police
Yeah.
officers going and killing all these children, this young teen can go into a hospital and murder these poor little innocent babies that were just born. I mean, go people going into schools,
There's a
shooting up
lot
schools.
going on.
I mean, this world is
Lady,
getting sicker and sicker by the minute.
look at California, the one going around killing all these men. There's so much stuff going. Oh God, there's so much out there.
Uh,
You heard about that one,
well,
the
we
serial
we
killer.
we're going to talk about that because I was wondering, were they trying to be a was it who was it, Jeffrey Dahmers, or one of those who were
God,
killing a lot
yeah,
of the gay men, and
yeah, it's serious.
and
It's
regular.
serious.
Yeah. So
Is
we're
is
going to talk about a couple of those things next week, especially Acid. I would like us to discuss that North Korea situation, and how much at risk is the rest of the world, and would this be the spark of a World War III?
mm,
Donna says they are creating these storms, the same ones who did Hurricane Gilbert. Okay, for all these
mm,
storms and that's in regards to when we were talking about the tropical
my son
Julia
said
and
so. But they're
Ian,
manipulating.
and they're
Well, we talked about that
manipulating.
last week about the Chinese shooting up their chemicals into the clouds to make it rain when they feel they need it
Yeah,
rain.
You
yeah.
know, you
That's what
know,
my son.
you know what someone had sent an email in regards to saying that we seem to give the Chinese a lot of power. But I feel that they are very, very powerful people. They if
Okay.
they let the sun rise in China, where it lit up
Right.
all of China. I mean, those are things to make you go, on what they are doing in
Right.
these
And they're the
laboratories.
ones who are building their own space whatever it is. I was kind of listening to that
Yeah,
on
they
the
building a space station colony.
yeah,
Yeah,
their own space station up there.
because
I mean,
they
it's a
know
lot.
what's getting ready to happen on Earth. So for all who was not preparing, I don't know how we're going to prepare and what we're preparing necessarily for, but get those emergency food supplies put away. Get you know I don't know. I mean, people are making bunkers underneath ground. um uh, I mean, I just don't know
Somebody
with
said earthquake
with
is gonna get those people.
yeah, with all with all of these space things that are being set up. Okay. Oh, Tati, blessings, let's gripe. She's Tonya says good ladies, and she says good evening, ladies. So big up yourself, Tonya. Let's gripe on a Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. is Tonya McKenna and Marcus. Be sure to join them. Mama Acid, anything else you want to elaborate on before we go, Queen? But as a matter of
Oh
fact,
yeah, one
Queen,
thing I forgot.
uh-huh.
I didn't even mention this. Atlanta has the very first in the United States, and I believe in the world, virus screening section for travelers that's been instituted. And the first group of people, of course, we just said were the Ugandans. So if you're coming from another country and they decide to virus screen you, they have a way to be able to separate you out and have you go through a tunnel, and they can sniff you basically and find out if you are bringing in something other than the usual drugs or guns or something.
Well,
They want to know if you're bringing in Ebola.
I really don't have a problem with that. I don't mind them screening because if that's going to eliminate a lot of these infectious diseases that are being brought into the United States of America, then I'm all for it. I mean, get screened. You know what I'm saying? Because I really don't want any of those um, diseases. So I'm all for it. We're gonna log out of here. Queen, before we leave, do you have anything to say to you want to give the listeners any last words?
Just love each other and just be grateful that you're alive. It's rough out there. I'm serious. Yeah,
Okay,
that's it, lady.
Mama Acid.
I just want to say to everybody, take care of yourself. Please be safe. To the people who live in Dunbar, in Fort Myers, we see you. We understand what you're going through, and we are not going to forget what you have been through. Even though they are rescuing people on the seaside, they are ignoring the black people in the city. That's all right, Dunbar. We know you down there, and we ain't even going to forget about you. Check us out over on Honey Child, which is actually now called asidkemet.tumblr.com. We got all the latest news, everybody's business, and everything you need to know if you missed it this week.
All right. And as we wrap up, we've went over and we're going to continue to follow the Donna Lee case. The mess I'm not too sure of unless Queen or Mama Acid have something to chime in on them. We're going to continue
No,
on
I'm
Jamaica
tired of them
government.
now.
We're going to continue on Jamaica governments, American governments, and as we encourage each and every one, know whom you're voting for. Read up on each of these individuals, Dr. Oz, Herschel Walker, and every other um, politicians that are running for a seat to represent you. Once again, if you are not aware, President Joe Biden signed a pardon um, uh, to to sign the document to pardon anyone with low level marijuana charges. And the question was asked as to, is this 1 pound, 1 ounce? Has there been, have they told us exactly what they consider to be low level. So we are just assuming that it would be low level things, personalized use of marijuana. So that's something that you could check out in your community. I mean, in what in your area. Check with an attorney. Go to the website and find out how you can go about being pardoned if you have any low level marijuana charges. Okay, because I know there's lots of people that may have been caught for a joint or for an ounce or something to that effect. You can get those charges expunged off of your record. So go and look about that because sometimes those little charges as well hinder you from being able to vote. So make sure that you go and take care of that so your voice can be heard in the next coming election. Excuse me. And myself just want to encourage each and every one to be safe, stay safe, and love each other and put down those guns, stop killing off one another, and help especially if you have family members that have children and you can help, especially during the night hours of babysitting, then we encourage you all to take these children in and babysit so that the parents can go out and work so that we don't have another atrocity such as what took place in Jonesboro with the little baby being hit by the car. and the parents being arrested. So, work together as a family unit or as a friend unit, and, reach out. Can save a life. It definitely can save a life. Be sure to listen to the fantabulous programmings on the Powerhouse Radio, also Victorious 89.1 FM. You have Let's Gripe on Wednesdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. with Tonya Marcus and McKenna. Also, be sure to join us each and every Thursdays for Reasoning Thursday with Mama Acid, Queen, and yours truly, Lady D. To be sure to join me Saturday for the Lady D show. We're gonna have Determine on our interview, kicking it back up with our interviews. So check us out Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. Check me out Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. with your news, views, interviews, and your joke of the day, what you know about it, and did you know? And Sundays, we kicking it back off this week. Sundays, we'll be on this Sunday, evening 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. for All About Love. Nothing but love. We was in MIA for a minute, but we're back. All About Love, Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And check out our Gospel Sundays at 8 a.m. up until the 1 o'clock hour. So tell a friend and a friend and a family member. And for each and every one listening on 89.1 FM, we encourage you to tell your friends that the station is up and on in your area: Conyers, Covington, Macon, Monticello, all of those areas. Just Jonesboro, yeah. Just go in and let your friends and family know that they could turn on the 89.1 FM. And we ask you to definitely support the station. It's a great station. It's a Caribbean station. It's a all around station, but focusing mainly on lots of Caribbean programmings and Caribbean news. So we ask you all to definitely support. You all have a blessed and wonderful evening. And we thank you all for joining us, because you could have been joining someone else, but you decided to stick it out with us anyway. And we most definitely appreciate that. Be blessed, and check you all on out next
Goodbye.
week. Same place, same time, and same stations.
Love you
Are
guys.
you ready? Are 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 you ready?
Tasha says live, laugh, live, love, and laugh.
When the roll is called out,
Ciao, ciao.
I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of times. We'll be taking care of all the children there.
What is command one? No second class.